But as of now, we'll go back to Kaba, but this time around it's going to be much more shorter, much more brief. For a brief deliberation on the manifesto proper.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen. Clearly, the minister is very kind because I don't want to keep you longer anymore. The Kabale team 2020-2026 manifesto, we call it our final manifesto. You see the word final. This means based on what we committed ourselves in terms of time limit. Inshallah, Rabbi, all goes well as we expect, inshallah. The next 4 years, we'll be sitting to inaugurate or launch a different team. The manifesto is not without a background. When we came into office in 2014, there was already a national football strategic development plan that was developed by our preceding administration led by Mr. Christopher Kelly. And you all heard also on record, when we came, we said we are not reinventing the wheels. We are going to continue construction from where the last block was. And this is what we did. Based on that, we look at it, and because of the existence of and the time and the dynamics of issues, we need to adjustment here and there, and we went into it. And that also has developed into what we call, we produce what we call our National Football Development Plan. This National Football Development Plan 2019-2022 also in part was a product of the strategy as well as the development plan. We also have developed into what we call the contract of agreed objectives with FIFA. Contract of agreed objectives is a contract that we sign with FIFA to commit ourselves to the various developments of football. If you don't have a strategic development plan, you don't even start. It's based on your strategic development plan that FIFA allows you to negotiate with the contract agreed objective for the forthcoming 4 years. That this contract of agreed objectives, as I said, also came from the 2019-2022 National Football Development Plan. I think this has been public knowledge. We developed this document. One of my colleagues can keep document. This is National Gambia National Football Development Plan. If you look at page 2, the National Football Development Plan (NFDP) is geared towards the accelerated development of all aspects of football in Gambia. Over the next 4 years, TFF shall pursue vigorously the following key objectives. You've seen the design. Back 4. This was 2019. You have player number 1, infrastructure development, number 2, capacity building, number 3, technical development, number 4, football development. You go to the midfield 5. You see grassroots youth development. I'm sorry, the cameras are zooming. This is deliberate. We have women's football development, we have regional football development, national football development league, and the striker, the lone striker, national teams development. This document has been with us for the past 2019 up to today. Then I left the rest with you. Who plagiarized who? Who copied who? Going to the point. In addition to the brilliant resume, you call CV, you call profile of the distinguished members of Team Kaba, I think I'm the least qualified in this team. When it comes to academic qualification, I'm the least. When it comes to experience and achievement in football management, I'm rock bottom. When it comes to character and integrity, I'm further down. These ladies and gentlemen are all better than me. I'm just lucky that they chose me to lead them. I thank you all, please. Thank you. The goalkeeper, I'm not going to detail. Our goalkeeper, whether they call it the reserve 11 or the starting 11 or the substitutes. Governance, maintaining a strong GFF. This goes back to how we manage the Federation in terms of complying with the rules and regulations of both GFF and FIFA. We will continue to observe strict adherence to all the rules and regulations and the laws. And we will continue to set the policies while the senior management team will be responsible for the implementation. The annual general meetings will continue to be held regularly where all relevant documentations, resolutions, proposals will be put before the General Assembly for their consideration or otherwise. And we will continue our nevertheless in the furtherance of our relationship, not only strengthening but also expanding it with especially the government of the Gambia and all other stakeholders, especially our parent bodies, FIFA, CAF, WAF1, all others. The back four, the football development, improving infrastructure. As challenging as they may, as difficult as the task might be, we will not relent, we will not shy away, we will not run away from it. We will continue where we are and see how we can further accelerate in delivering the promises that we do, especially the ongoing projects that we will continue to deliver as soon as possible. And again, we will have the ambition and objective of venturing into new ones so that football development, social infrastructure, could be felt across the length and breadth of this country by way of developing the 5 promised regional fields. Capacity building, we continue to make capacity building the core of our agenda in order to eliminate the huge gap between the number of footballers and trained personnel for proper and sustainable development in football throughout the country. When we came in, we launched the CAMP project 2014. We've been mocked at. We've been caricatured, training, no results. But alhamdulillah, the results are coming, and the results came. And one of the biggest results, which is the second to the biggest, is going to AFCON, which we did, thanks to the training capacity building that happened, and then identifying, scouting, nurturing of talents. That's where we are now. And looking at the number of achievements enumerated in terms of trainings of people involved in running football, from coaches to medics, the numbers would not have been achieved without our strict adherence to our policy. In coaches education, the intention for us in our next mandate will be to train 1,200 coaches with the GFFD license, 360 for CAF C license, 200 CAF B license, and 18 CAF A license. By the will of Allah, we have the capacity, we have the competence in the technical department and the technical director to lead this venture. Administrators and education, through the UEFA support project, which will soon be launched, we will implement the club development and licensing program by training all club administrators on branding, marketing, as well as fan promotion and engagement. On reference education, the intention for this 4 years coming is to train 3 referee instructors per region annually for the 4 years, talking about 10 per region. And also to train 20 assessors annually for the referees. We also want to train 75 national elite A referees annually. We also want to train 420 national elite B and C, 420 annually. This is for both the regions and globally, and nationally. For the medics, we also intend to have a annual first aid seminars, trainings and workshops for medical personnel of clubs and leagues to support them in terms of prior treatment and rehabilitation during and after injuries. Career plan for club medical staff. We have a new inclusion, innovation. That's what development is all about. It's instead of CARM, from henceforth it will be CARMS. The S will come safety and security training, because we all know it's become very important Football goes with health and safety and security. Those are the innovation to include the safety and security to make CARM as CARMS. We will work with FIFA, CAF, safety and security partners and our national security agency to train up to 500 security personnel and stewards on football match safety and security procedures. Equally, all clubs, first, second, third regional and third divisions, safety and security officers will also be trained on football match safety and security procedures. This will enhance harmonization of match security organization in line with FIFA and CAF. We have an expert at that amongst us. Lieutenant Colonel Musa Jame has risen to the highest level in this venture at the continental level. He was a CAF security and safety officer during the last AFCON for many matches in Cameroon. Congratulations, Colonel Jame. For the technical development, the technical director of GFF will be among leaders of football in Africa. May I happily disclose, as we speak, that Mr. Sandong is appointed into the CAF Technical and Development Committee. Mr. Sandong is a member of CAF Technical and Development Committee. What would, for the first time ever, what would that mean for football development for us in Gambia, and where Gambia will be represented? Grassroots football development. The following programs will continue to serve as the bedrock of grassroots football development. Nationwide School Football Program, as it's going. FIFA Talent Development Scheme. Annual National Summer Jamboree for under 12-15 boys and girls. Interregional National Lower Basic Schools League. Annual Cup Pan-African under 15 Championship, which has just started this year. The youth leagues to be introduced. Regional under 15, National under 15 League for the finals, under 15 national team, Super Navetan competition. The Super Navetan zones will be supported to organize their own competition. The midfield 5, the national football leagues, will continue to make the domestic national leagues more attractive to the spectators by introducing, as part of league calendar, an annual awards ceremony for the league immediately the season ends, where both the champions and cup winners will be officially decorated. In addition to that, we will also introduce the following awards in collaboration with the Coaches and Players Association for all categories across the board. Player of the season, goalkeeper of the season, young player of the season, coach of the season, referee of the season, most disciplined team of the season, goal of the season to be named after the legendary Biri Biri. And this, as I said, is across the board, when it's across both male and female leagues. The National Men's League Division 1, we want to reform the organizing committee and other events to improve competence and effectivity. The free registration will continue. Capacity building, financial support, preparatory money, introduction of the sharing of gate takings between GFF and the clubs, and acquisition of sponsorship for the league. This forthcoming league in terms to involve the clubs so that at least they can also have some benefit from the gate taking, however small it is, like we do in our local, in our local grounds. If Real Banyo is playing with BK Milan and Real Banyo will be present from the ticket sales to control this, and whatever is accrued, the percentage will go to both clubs as well as the venue and GFF and all others. The National Second Division League free registration will continue as above. Women's increase women representation on the ESCO and women leadership at all levels. This is the reason. It will be explained in the explanatory note that will accompany with the proposed amendment to the Constitution to increase the presence of women at the level of the executive committee. Currently we have only 2, but really we need our sisters beside us. They cannot remain forever behind us. We have to do it gradually. This is why we want to increase the number from 2 to 5. This is why we're creating a vice president position specifically dedicated to women's football. We also want to increase the number of corporate members to the buyers, to give them the opportunity, because even in the national laws now, the training internationally is you make it easier. It doesn't mean that it will compromise competence, but since when it comes to open competition, they are disadvantaged. So we have to see how we can bring them on, as I said again, not to compromise competence and efficiency. We are proposing the increase of the corporate members to ensure that 2 of the corporate members shall be or must be women. This is why we have Ajaramu and Aja Chumban with us here. And also we have Jay going for the 4th vice president. This is a project that really we are indulging and we are soliciting the support of everybody, says, us the male, let our sisters not felt to be trampled on. It is something that is going to give a good image to our country and the football globally. Regional football development, we will ensure centralized regional football leagues across the 707 regions, improve the standard of football infrastructure, capacity building will continue, operational and support and other financial assistance will continue. The professional league, we will introduce the first ever professional league by 2024 by helping the clubs to attain the required criteria we will uplift of football uplift. The delay is caused mainly, we have to go back to COVID, but the other thing is that we have to put a lot of things in place. We need government full support in this because we want to encourage businesses and investors to go into football. And as I said again, whatever they put in football, we want government to recognize it by way of some incentives. This is the approach we are taking, and we're looking forward to the support of the government. And we have no doubt the current leadership of the government, from the president to the minister to the sports council, we are very convinced that we will be able to meet this proposed period. Income generation to ensure leverage to leverage also support from FIFA for 3.0 that will come next year, as recently announced by FIFA and CAF support to members association. Also, they introduce gate takings a new income sharing system with jobs as I mentioned. We will continue to engage government to fund all categories of national teams so that BFF funds can be used for the organization development of football. This is a very crucial area. We are grateful, very appreciative of the tens of millions of dollars the government recently has put into football, especially through the senior national team men. But we still engage in them. At least pick 2 or 3 more, if not all, the national teams. For all the national teams, regardless, if we name under 12 national teams, it belongs to government. But the boarding, financial boarding, administrative, all the logistics of the female national team, senior, under 17, under 20, male under 23, male under 20, male under 17, all the junior categories, the chant are all still on the head of teams. So we pray and hoping that government's finance situation improves. We've seen the determination in them, that at least they can leave part of that from us so that we can put that money into other needed areas of football development. We ensure that football hotel realizes its potential to generate more revenue for the federation that will plow back class football development. Yes, though the income coming from that is not that impressive. It's a hotel, 8 4 years. The second year, when we were trying to realize something, COVID came in. That was the time it was virtually closed, like all other hospitality industries. And it's catching up again. But it's also relieving us of a lot of expenditure. When you have our workshops, our seminars, training programs, camping of other categories, except the senior male, all other categories come there, plus the club champions preparing for the CAF competitions are all there at reasonable and affordable cost to the clubs and to the federation. I think these are figures that, if we quantify, can also have a lot of revenue to the federation. But we still want it to be more business, to find to be more business oriented, so that at least not only does it save us from cost, but it can bring revenue to the federation. We look for more income generation ventures, including sale of merchandise, among others. This striker, respectable football nation for the national team, men's national team, following our maiden qualification to AFCON 2021 in Cameroon and eventual 6th place finish, we are now committed to the process of continuity in terms of achieving minimum objectives by making Gambia a respectable football nation. We are already. But to maintain it, we will ensure to qualify the sports until the 2023 AFCON in Cote d'Ivoire and eventually to the 2026 World Cup, the USA, Mexico, and Canada, inshallah, and possibly 2025 AFCON in Guinea. To qualify the under-23 to the Paris Olympics 2024, we've already registered. Following our third place finish in Mauritania in 2021, and the qualification to the World Cup, we now target winning the AFCON 2020, the AFCON U20 Cup of Nations by 2025, and qualify for another World Cup. We also promise to win our third AFCON under 17 title by 2025 and to qualify for another World Cup in that category. We'll also establish a U15 national team for the first. Women's national team. We'll ensure the Queen's Scorpions qualify to AFCON in 2026. Women's under 22 also secure qualification to AFCON by 2026. And also the under 17 qualification to AFCON by 2026. The reserves. Football Veterans Welfare Fund. Recognizing their immense contribution to the development of football in the country over the years, and considering the fact that most of them often face medical and financial difficulties, we intend to create a Football Veterans Welfare Fund for the first time in the country. The fund will be partly financed from annual allocation for a start by $1 million by the Gambia Football Federation. And also, we will engage the active football players, considering them to be contributing to the fund. We will sort of serve for them as a social security in the future, and also will launch the negotiation with the government also, so the government also can push something. To give it more independence and autonomy, we intend, after consultation, to set up a board of trustees. The board of trustees, independent board of trustees, that will manage this fund. And we will receive and treat all applications from anybody who has ever been called up to Gambian. I just want to let the card a little bit so that people can understand when we say veterans. The perception is, I'm sure the board of trustees, the competent people will come today or later to give all the criteria. But it will not leave anybody out who has ever put on Gambian national team. You are called into the team, either once or whatever. You are qualified to be part of this family. And we hope, and this is a very important venture, because of late, interaction with our senior brothers and some of our younger brothers and sisters, for that matter, has really, touched our hearts and minds. They need support and they need attention. These gentlemen, the three of them sitting in front of me, we have some of them, but these three gentlemen sitting in front of me, they deserve a lot. We will not be fair with them when we leave them unattended. Some of them might not need it financially. Some of them might not need it, but there's mostly that the will and the gesture. We recognize what they did for this country. So this is one of the projects that really, though is last on the list, but it's the most important one. We know the importance of the reserves and the bench. This is football. This is football. I thank you all for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable President. Once again, I'll also acknowledge the presence of Mr. Lamon Owens, present here, our former national team player, fondly called Lord of Bahna, alongside Mr. Kaba Sise, who was one time, of course, a good national team goalkeeper, and also worked as technical director in the Gambia football. Great Kaba Sise. Great Kaba Sise. And of course, the qualification of Gambia has been a long walk, and of course, many people contributed in it. And I can fully remember back in the days around 2011, 2012, when he was technical director, did a lot of things for the national team. And of course, we got the fruits, but it was a long, tedious work that previous administrations have done a pretty good job. And I also mentioned Captain Laus. We never witnessed it, but we were told that Walidan and Real de Banjul derbies, whenever Captain Laus and Sehu Sarga in the park were in the middle of the pitch, it used to be a very, very, very great encounter. And as of now, I will welcome my friends and my brothers and sisters, that is the press, to, of course, ask questions. Questions are welcome. And from here, you raise your hand, then I will, of course, hand over the mic to you. You can address members of the high table.
Good afternoon, Mr. Kamabajo. I am Mohamed Lamin Drame from the Fatu Network. The question is, why do you think you should serve as the president of the Gambia Football Federation for 12 years?
Thank you very much. I think the first document I presented to you speaks volume. And then our motto is stability, continuity, and progress. To fulfill that continuity aspect and also stability in our football. As young as you might be, I'm sure you are aware that for many years, the Executive Committee of the Gambia Football Association Federation did not have the opportunity of even completing a term because of that instability, and that break in leadership in our football cost us a lot. We can count the potential we have over the years, but because there was no continuity and there was no stability, and there's a break, that's a problem. But most importantly is to continue serving my country and football, to build on the achievements and to take football to another level. We succeeded in one, going to AFCON #1, which is unprecedented, and we are looking forward to go to AFCON again, and eventually to the World Cup. That's it.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mumudu Gajaga from QTV. Mr. Bajo, my question is about football infrastructure. If you look at some of the football fields that we have in the country, well, of course, I am well informed to know that these football infrastructures are supposed to be made by government. They're supposed to be built by government, and the facilities would serve everyone in this country. But a few years ago, under your administration, GFF made a promise that they are going to refurbish some of these grounds. You've mentioned some of them: Brikama, Gunjur, a new one, that is a new football structure there, and places like Banjul to be improved, Serekunda East. So in that promise, they've made that within a short period, let's say a minimum of at least 2 years, these projects will be finished and it will help the development of footballers, that is to play on a better pitch. But it's been like 4 years since those projects have started and they've not been completed. You've cited challenges, but I want you to go deep to explain to us what are some of these challenges and why are these infrastructural developments not ready in time?
Thank you very much. This question is as difficult as it is, but it's very dear to me, but this is the area that really we are all concentrating on. As I said, in the past 1 or 2 years now, we've been talking about this, and we never cease to explain. We even went further to give a financial account of the position of these projects. We are so confident of ourselves and bold enough to publish for public consumption the financial state. Yes, as I said, and I will not shy from saying it, there is a whole good skin good down in that room there, and there was glass door, or the walls are all glasses, and there is hyena from Jamekonda, which was just passing by and saw that hyena skin and looking good in that room. Mr. Jame wouldn't mind whether it was a glass or it's just a reflection of the sun. He just used his head to hit the glass to go and get that rope. That's what's the problem. We need this back, we needed this infrastructure so badly. And we've seen the basket that we know that there is a amount of money that can be accessed to get these things done. But as I said, because of the urgency and the sorry state of those infrastructure and the urgent need for them, we went for them. But unfortunately, as I said, it was our ambition and our desire to have it done. Maybe we didn't calculate very well the potential possible delays, hitches, and the bureaucracy that went on. As I read the accounts to you, the figures of reading this were the amount meant for FIFA project, the 4 million was for the 8 years, 4 year, 2 million. But to access those funds were a nightmare. We thought it was going to be easier after filling the forms and other things. We even started in advance to put in the funds that are meant for other football development, even the run cost, that's operational fund that comes in. to refinance so that things can start, only to realize that that's not the way we have to do it. The delay is only that the monies were not received because the process and procedures were very cumbersome, and also, as I said also, partly also on some of the non-performance of some of the contracts or a delay and the consultants. This, you know, is a phenomenon in this country. We thought we can empower our own Gambia. With all modesty, I'm just refurbishing a small house in Brikama. Some of you know my house not. But it's 3 years now and I have the third contract on site. So you know how we deal, each of them have an own experience with our contractors, even personally. So these are because they're all part of the problem. But the problem is not that because some money has been taken and went into somebody's pocket. I would not be here today. None of us would have been here today. Or maybe the monies were used and diverted for other that they are not meant for. As I read, we still have more than $1 million in that basket. $1.3 million of dollars in that basket that we are yet to access. These are meant for these projects in infrastructure. So I think really we will continue dilating on them as they come often. And until we deliver them to you, we are expecting this question to rain on us day and night. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Yusuf Taylor for Gynaco Online News. I have only 2 questions. The first question, like you've rightly showed, over $1 million US. You still have that amount. Our boys, have done a great job under your term, where they've made the country proud with the performance of late, historic performance. But we've got a drawback, which is we cannot enjoy to see our boys play here in this country. My question is not to go take you back to explain how it went wrong, but for you to commit and tell us, if you win, when will we, the Gambians, be able to enjoy our boys play here in this countryside? And then my second question is with regards to the FIFA. I've seen a lot of money. We have not had the chance to go through your document. Certainly, maybe the answers might be there. I might be asking a ridiculous question. But there's been this big rumor about $1.5 million spent on a toilet. Can you please clarify? Is it the case? Is it true that $1.5 million was spent on a toilet under this FIFA funds that you were just explaining? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The first part of this, I pass that on to my colleague. Okay.
Yeah, for the first question concerning the stadium, I think you should know that the stadium was built in 1983, and government have never invested enough for the renovation of the stadium. Since 1983, if you go to the stadium now, what you will find is difficult to understand. You still have Chinese fitting and fixtures within the stadium. In 1983, those who were born in 1983 have their kids now going to school. Since 1983, the drainage system, since 1983, no government have invested enough. And since I took over, government have been informed about improving the standard of the stadium. Luckily, I'm a CAF general coordinator. I travel all over Africa to inspect stadiums, and government have been warned about that. When we got the first report about CAF, during the qualifiers, government was informed. You have to give credit to the current government. They invested $10 million. They invested $10 million, and we were able to improve some of the standards that allow us to play our qualifiers to complete it. That's what made us play in the Gambia. After that, last year they wrote to us that now all the stadium must have to meet all the necessary CAF required standards. And we have to give credit also to the Honorable Minister, Mr. Bakari Bai. is doing exceptionally well to make sure that the stadium is available for us to play in September. And the president, I met him yesterday. We discussed about the stadium. And he gave his full support to make sure that the stadium we are able to play. When we came out with the BOK from the Ministry of Works, it's worth about 100 million. But when the contractors came, it went up to 168 million. And the budget to do the rehabilitation was only 100. The minister have dilated on that. So we have challenges financially. National Assembly, they came to the stadium twice. The whole park came to the stadium. The last National Assembly member, the subcommittee, Honorable Cisse is here. They came to the stadium for them to inspect the stadium. This is the only stadium we have, and we must have to invest in the stadium. And to build a new stadium is good, but please, let's take care of what we have for now. Thanks.
So September.
Hopefully September.
You are the one running. When will our boys...
This one have nothing to do with the
Give us a promise. We want your campaigning now. When will Gambians be able to enjoy our boys?
Telo.
Give us time.
GFF have nothing to do with the stadium. The stadium is owned by government, not the GFF. You have to understand the difference. Stadium is owned by government, not the GFF. It's the GFF that is the stadium, the ministry that is supposed to, or the government that is supposed to invest in the stadium for the use of the stadium. When the GFF want to use the stadium, they hire the stadium. Let me clear that. When the GFF want to use the stadium, they hire the stadium. It's not free. They hire the stadium and pay the stadium to use the stadium.
So you cannot tell us when?
No, this general manager of the stadium is Mr. Bufai.
I understand.
It's not in our control. It's the government. The minister himself was on the radio a few weeks ago, and it was very clear. Government has plans and they are mobilizing resources. If the indication, the minister, what he said was, if all goes well as per the plan, we'll be able to play here in September. If the minister cannot tell you definitively who owns it, by proxy I will tell you. I'm not in a position. For me, playing here has 1,001 advantages. As he said, even the GFF using the stadium, it's not even free because it has running costs. All those night matches you see people for it, the electricity itself is based on average of $10,000 per hour, for example, because they are all lights and just for the short is not a matter of GFF. Let me give you one thing. In one of our the last matches, we played there. The my commissioner made some observations in terms of the state of the stadium. And Kaba fined Gambia $6,000. $6,000. And because we are partners, we would have thrown it to the stadium, but the GFF had to do away with $6,000 from the meager resources to pay that fine on behalf of our partners. So it's not in our hands. It's not in our hands. Let me give one example, because often I hear people saying that, go look at Mauritania, they do this. It's good to compare, but you have to know the background. The Mauritanian government sponsored the Mauritania Football Federation budget 100%. Mauritania Football Federation doesn't need a dime from FIFA. The Mauritanian National League from professional to amateur, all the clubs are 100% funded by the government. The Mauritanian Football Federation president, who's a close friend, told me they even have a desk officer at Office of the President who intercedes between the Federation and the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs. He picked a telephone and called the gentleman called the Minister of Finance, give this to the Federation. You know what they do? Yes, all federations like them, like Gambia, receive $1 million per year. Since they don't need that $1 million for their operation, if our funds didn't even arrive until the end of June, you'll hear, I will say in all Album Moira, then you'll hear something from the football house because we will not move. They put monies together and then also ask the development fund that the 2 million that they have for the 4-year cycle. They took that of it and put it together and upgrade existing facilities. If you go there, you will see some of them, the pavilions are even prefabs. Not even so. I'm just an example. They have done very well, and we wish we could have it. I was in Waxo. They're doing exceptionally well, but the source of funding are different. Our lifeline is the 500,000 that come in January and in July. If that got delayed, we have a problem. Now, in fact, the league's almost ending. We cannot even pay clubs some of their dues because it depends on the cash flow we have. You cannot pay with receipt. So we're depending on this, that before the end of this month, we'll start paying them. So I can give an example often is Mauritania. Let them do research and know what Mauritania do and how Mauritania football is run. Their budget, annual budget, like the Minister of Youth sends budget to the government, they approve it and they fund it 100%. Whatever comes is their bonus for them. So that's what they put together and invest in those stadiums. Let me allow my colleague also to direct a little bit on the 1.5 million was sung here 4 years ago. 2018, it was talked about. It was a matter for the police, it was a matter for the National Assembly, it was a matter for the it was all over. And no reasonable mind can reconcile with that. We've been talking about it, and then nobody can even imagine on that. But the fact of the matter, it's a fabrication, it's not true, it's not realistic. But it comes again because it's politics side. It's politics side. Some will say, some even reduce it from being a toilet block to a single toilet. Anyway, maybe Mr. Jonathan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Taylor. Because some of us, it's personal. We have to deal with this. Let me double down on what the president said. It's not true. And it can never be true. Well, it's politics time, and it's very accustomed now that anybody can get up and accuse people. But we are born in this country. We have worked. We are managing things that are even bigger than what I'm vying for as first vice president. I want to take this opportunity to actually clarify what is this toilet, where it is, what project does it belong to. Actually, it didn't come in this report because it's related to our first term. Yes, like the president said, somebody I saw in social media a bill of quantity, a portion of a bill of quantity, and the total of the bill of quantity was being paraded to be the toilet, not actually showing the previous pages. A bill of quantity includes many other things. Now what is this project? When this executive came to being in 2014, there was already a FIFA-approved project for the rehabilitation of the derelict National Technical Training Center, commonly known as the Gold Project. This was approved during the time of President Mustafa Kemal. So as an executive, we continued with it because every country in the first instance, if you do not have a technical center and you do not have an administration, you do not qualify for the regulations to be supported. So, coming new, we revisited the process of the application. Every fund, every funding by FIFA, the window will be there. You have to go through the process to apply for it. And when you apply for it, you have to actually implement it based on what you agreed. It's called a statement of approval. So we agreed that we'll revisit. And we engaged Mr. Kaplan. People like my uncle Kaba will know, who was the development manager for Africa, an Ivorian who is of blessed memory now, to revisit. And because we are new, we decided that Mr. Kaplan and FIFA should run it. A consultant by name of Francis Jones, associate, I think you know him. He is the one who actually supervised the renovation of the NTCC, now NTC Kum Football Hotel. And he recruited a contractor called Sergi. This contractor is of Indian origin but operating in the Gambia. A contract was drawn between FIFA and Francis Jones Associate for the supervision, and a contract drawn between Sergi and FIFA for the construction. And the GFF president was just a witness. Francis Jones was sending all the returns directly to FIFA, and all payments to the consultant and the contractor went directly to their bank accounts. The records there, you can ask FIFA. At no time has we been involved, and then I am privy, because as a member of the executive committee, I am privy to the bill of quantity, entire whole bill and the whole contract, but it is not actually true. It is just a smear campaign. And the matter came up, like the National Assembly looked at it, even though we were not obliged to because it's FIFA funds, and also the police, etc., and the National Sports Council, and we are still sitting down here. If anybody done a crime, you know what happens in this country. Again, the reason I'm taking it up, I want to say that's the first part of the NTCC. Then, for people who have known that place, if you would like, I can share you pictures, because I keep records of how the place was like. Apart from the structures, everything was kind of like knocked off. I have evidence pictures, you know, because our football politics sometimes could be also dicey, and some of us have been around longer than you. We understand future things can be, because I understand corporate governance very well. Then it was renovated, it was spanking new, and then the same Kaplan came in here, and then it was handing over the keys to the president. And I told him, now we have a new building. Somebody, a member association that is only depending on FIFA operational support, if you allow me to digress, because the rules of this 500,000, the question is asked, where is all the money going to? Sometimes people ask. And then people also mistaken the fact that when you talk about FIFA projects, it's just for an infrastructure project. In the presentation, of course, you will see, we said we are going to develop all aspects of football. Capacity building. We didn't have any vehicles in the secretariat for them to walk. We had 2 buses, all these things. So we didn't use, unlike Mauritania, that took their 1 million and their 2 million, put it together and add some money and renovate the stadium. We have to take care of this because this is our times. Not everybody in the football family will agree, but this is what we felt is right, and this is what we are actually doing as our plans. So I said to Kaplan, what next? We're going to have a building and close it. He said, because that time the FIFA forward of President Infantino did not come. What was the development support? They have actually like baskets. The forward development is a different thing. You can look at it on the FIFA website and you will see what forward, and it's different from the goal projects. He said there is a window called FIFA win-win. It's an income generating. If you can prove to FIFA Development Committee that you can use this to actually make money for football development in the country, there is a $300,000. Well, the team agreed, but I thought of making it a hotel, a technical center, because at that time I was the chairman of the Gambia Tourism Board, which I've done for 6 years, and I know that as government policy, sports tourism was being encouraged. And then for us who are old enough to see Owens play for Boxbar and Biri Biri, we know that B1901 used to come from Denmark and camp in here in Sunwin or the hotel Warner Beach, and they play in Boxbar. So, and we are all witness to the fact that Senegalese teams do have their pre-seasons here. So then I told my colleagues, we can make it a hotel, and then we can also use it for our technical department. That's why the technical director operated. And that will serve us two purposes. Because at the time we also have a problem that we pay hotels a lot of money even for every national team. Even our national 17, we go to Seaview, we go to other hotels. But if we have our own hotel, we just pay the cost of them actually living there. So it was saving us for cost, and also if the hotel makes money, we can use it for grassroots football development. He said, now we will send in somebody to do a feasibility study. A feasibility study was done, and it was established feasible. And then they said, okay, we will send in an expert at a cost of $50,000 to do a business plan. Why do we need that? We use the in-house, to cut it short, to do it, and then we had now $350,000 to now refurbish, to actually furnish the entire hotel. Have you ever been? Go visit and go into the rooms. It will stand for, because I know, under my term, it was when the hotel classification was actually redone in this country as chairman of the tourism board. Since that time, that hotel is still actually well kept, and it's been saving us a lot of money, which we report actually to our members. And then there was another thing you didn't ask. We were accused of tax fraud because our finance department did not withhold a tax from a supplier. And then for the first time in my 57 years, I was invited for police. And that also is actually history. But to come to your question, this is not true. And we are honorable people. We are managing things here, and we continue to manage. But as public officials, we expect people to say that the president has reported, under my watch as chairman of the finance committee, every time FIFA comes in, we don't know. Yeah, the year before, it was controls credit from the UK. In that period, they audited us, they audited Sierra Leone, and Sierra Leone went into restriction. But over the last 6 years, at no time have we found, and FIFA audit from 1st of January to 31st of December. For heaven's sake, we are not in football to make money. We are in public service, and I can say that I am one of the key stakeholders. Real de Banjul, my partners are here. William is here. Pa is here. When we took over here, some of us used to train, our team trains in Banjul, and then the other team trains in Serekunda, Latrikunda, Danso, not so Umpuke. And then we go and play. Today, under the leadership of Willie and myself and Passan, we are a team that own our own place, and we have a building. So I'm trying to say that we have a vested interest. Everybody here is a football guy. Football should do well in this country. And okay, thank you, my big brother. Yes, I'm a little bit passionate, but to something, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Thank you.
So, sir, before going there, sir, before going there, let me.
Yeah, I think that's okay. Maybe.
Don't worry. I will just laugh.
You can ask a question. Just get his attention. Take your time. He will come. He will give you. I know they've been given everything.
Good afternoon. My name is Afan Kamara, a journalist who works with the Point newspaper, Choice FM, and of course the Voice newspaper as well. Well, Mr. Bajo, we are in a, of course, campaign era, that is politics, and we know politicians might at least at some point of time promise to build villages where there is no even river. So now, however, so far we've seen one aspiring candidate, of course, in the name of Mr. Saribu Kamaso, who was your former ally, who came to show an interest, that is to at least unseat you from the position of the GFF. And of course, one of the things that he used to campaign against you is your weaknesses. And what are they? These are the promises that you've made during the past 4 years, which you cannot deliver or which you are not able to deliver. And the question is, what are the assurances that you have for the football stakeholders and also players? Because most of the things that they want is infrastructure, which is a playing field, which at least some of the parks that are under renovation might not even be ready during the time of the election. So the question is, what assurances do you have for the players and of course for those stakeholders to deliver some of the promises that you made during the past 4 years? Should you be elected into office again? Thank you.
Thank you for it. I think really going by the scorecard, what we call the scorecard, the first document that I went through, has highlighted the previous promises and then those that we have lapsed in. But the second document, as a manifesto, has also highlighted our intention, that's the promise that we are making, to complete the outstanding or the pending promises that we couldn't deliver and the new ones. What I can assure is that we will continue, this is why the word continue came in, we will continue to deliver on the promise, the past promises, to fulfill that, and also to make sure that the second ones are coming in. Yes, somebody will say you promise it's not delivered. That's very normal. I don't expect, anybody will come and expect that I'll deliver 100% here. It's not possible in life. We are human beings. We are an organization. Make us very, very big in terms of financial position. We try to make the best out of what we have. But I can give assurances that come the next 4 years, we will do everything within our means, and we learned considering the experience that we gathered in the past 4 or 8 years, we will be able to do better. And I can still be quoted on record that we will do better to overcome all the challenges in the post 5 years, and work very hard to ensure that the new promises are not only kept, but they are delivered.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bajo, for those marathon question and answer. You have delved into so many aspects, but the only question that I want to ask you is, you made mention of continuity of the senior national team to be participating in AFCON after appearing for the first time in the history of the Gambia. We have seen 2 talented young players from the Gambia that are currently representing Senegal in the under-20. Which really breaks the heart of many football lovers, including myself. If you are elected into office, what will you do and your administration to persuade those young people to represent the Gambia instead of crossing to other countries to represent them instead of their own country? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't need 4 years to do that. I'm personally in contact with those boys. And then we have a coach and some members of our organization who also have interviewed with them. Myself, like you, like any other Gambian, want to see those boys to put on the Gambian jersey. But I don't, first of all, I have no hand in the selection of players. I have no hand. And none of these gentlemen and ladies have a hand. The selection of the players is entirely the discretion of the respective coaches. We all want to see them play. But what's going to be some of the coach? I didn't know. But as a jealous patriot, I've made a démarche that I started my own, building a relationship, talking to them. And I even dispatched a senior coach to go and attend the finals that were held in chess, Casa Sports finals recently. Just to go and build the relationship to talk to this one. The best part of the whole thing is private and it's personal. Anybody at or beyond the age of 18 can decide where he or she is nationality will lie. All we can do is to see how we can talk and convince. But as I said, if I even go and commit myself to a certain level, and I was able to convince XY to drop his or her intention to suit nationality, unfortunately, I'm not the one who will decide who to pick, what will happen tomorrow. President Mohamed Digbe. President promise. I think we have to be very careful. This is a fine line. There's a limit that we can go. I cannot tell Mr. Bojang, don't take a Japanese sponsors nationality because Coach Lam always will pick you. It's not my area. I have no hand in that. The only time we intervene in scouting is when the coach needs our intervention at the level of the parents or at the scouts or even the player to talk to them for them to change them to consider playing for the country. There we go, all of us do that. We receive no enough requests from people. Yes, there are 2 people that are very important. They are fine players. I wish they play for the country as a fan. But every other week, I have 2 or 3 who send emails. I'm a Gambian. I'm on this part of the one playing for this. I'm interested to play for my country. You know, on the 19, on the 20, on the 20, on national team. We see it every day. But all what we do is, when email lands, I refer to the respective coach. This is, and the coaches will reach out to them, ask for their whatever. That's where we stop. The one that I show you is sensitive. I, as a fan, and also leader of football federation, want to see that every individual who has the potential to play for this country play. And then the one fact, I want to come there. How many other people have gone other nationalities playing for the Gambia? The most prominent is Babakar Modi Seka Baro, and Musa Karel, Noah Sonko, Simon, all of them had opportunity. I myself was in a scouting trip with the coach some 2 years ago. There we got Said Janko, and his brother is also upcoming, and many others. So this, yes, as I said, because if you talk too much about this topic, it's taken out of context, and they put you in confrontation with the individual. The rest, in total, is entirely personal. It's left to the players and their families to decide. But we are in touch with them. What I cannot do is to guarantee that when you don't do it, the coach is selected. I'm the last person to tell the coach who to select. It's a no-go, it's a red line for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. 3 more questions.
Good afternoon. I have 2 questions for Mr. Bajo, Honorable Bajo, for now. The first one is, you said under your watch, Gambian football achieved or registered a lot of achievements. Key among them is reaching the AFCON, which has been the flagship achievement in Gambian football. Including all the other achievements that you said was registered under your success. Why couldn't you then step aside and allow for someone else to continue that work, having achieved all these things, having already built the foundation as you have mentioned? That is the first question. The second question is, this election is nicely building up to be an interesting election, a heated contest. And you are coming up against someone who a few years ago vigorously campaigned for you to win the second mandate. How do you feel coming up against this particular guy, knowing he might know your weaknesses to hurt you? These are the 2 questions for now. The others will come probably in our one-on-one.
Thank you very much. Let me hasten to go to the last one. I can assure you, I never even for a second been bothered by that. If anything, I'm relieved. If anything, I'm relieved. I thank God with all modesty. The greater part of my adulthood, adult life, was a politician. I know politics, and I live it. I think that's a blessing. That's the biggest blessing that could have happened to me and my team. We celebrated. We are celebrating it, and we hope that it remains in the race until 27th of July or August. Right? I am not worried. If anything, I'm very relaxed about that, because you know him more than I do. We've been together. As I said, he's my younger brother, somebody that I cherish, somebody you know. Since some months ago, he started his campaign. Alhamdulillah, we thank God. And I hope and wish that the campaign continues that way. I'm the last person to talk about anybody, an opponent, political opponent, much more a younger brother who was very there, who is still very dear to me to that level. So MS Kaba is not bothered about that. If anything, I'm relieved that I don't have Lamin Oasis coming against me, or I didn't have maybe Mr. Dembajam coming against me, or somebody that I share the same bedroom and bed with. That's fine. The first question, why not step down? Yes, it's as easy as that. For me, my modest experience in public life, Everybody has an objective, and there's no way that you can meet all your aspirations. And I don't belong to that. I find it very difficult. I don't belong to that school that would say, "Lima songala bagajehan, madu kubendari lafurkan." I want to complete that. Nobody can complete it. You must give it at one point. For me, I know I will never finish it. Even the promise that we made here 4 years' time, inshallah, I wish we can have 100%. Zero. But as a human being, knowing the task ahead, I cannot guarantee I'm going to do it. Would that mean that I'll say, no, I'm going to go ahead? I will say, go and change the constitution of the Kaba Manifesto. I've assigned tasks myself, and I've been encouraged and supported by this team. If this team should go into at the back room today now and say, no, in fact, we decided to bring X as the leader, I'll happily join the next debate. So it's not the question of Kaba. It's the team. We need to start, not to finish, but at least go a little bit further to state that we think we can pass the baton. Thank you.
All right, 2 more questions, please. Let's have
Well, thank you. My name is Salih Charo from Capital FM. Well, Mr. Bajo, my question is, if you are re-elected into office under your leadership, do you think you can change doubters into believers in these coming years by graduating from amateur football to professional?
Yes, it's one of the items or matters very top on our agenda. We are hopeful, and I think one of the real things that I will not forgive myself with, if come 2026, I should live without introducing amateur professional league in this country. We do everything possible. As I said, these men and women behind me on my flanks, as I said, are even equally more competent than I am. We've already worked out since started. It's about 2-3 years ago the work has started. There was an interruption, but we have relaunched it, and we are hoping to come 2024, we will start it by the will of Allah. And that's something really I consider a failure when I look back and take stock in 4 years' time.
Thank you very much. My name is Oasis from Ghana. You made mention of 2 football pitches to be done before next month. And when will the rest be done? Is it next year, mid next year, or before end of next year, in fact?
I don't know. Maybe you are talking about the Brikam and Panju that are said will be available. Yeah. Yes, those, I mean, sorry? The rest are all ongoing. They are all ongoing. The Serekunda is, by the will of Gala, will also play Navetan this time. And we are working very hard for West and Manjai to also play Navetan this year. Immediately after the Nawata. But we're going to do some improvement because the grass pitches need certain, to do the pitch, you need minimum 90 days to grow the grass so that they can be playable. And we don't want to really fool ourselves. But we are going to do improvements in terms of perimeter fence and dressing and other things. I don't want to go into somebody's area, the project manager is here, but that's the intention. And immediately after that, then we can do the grass. But as I told you, the works are ongoing. And if you have time to visit them, I think you see some substantial improvement, including backup. Don't forget backup also, it's advanced.
Yes, thank you very much. There will be one-on-one session. TV1. Alright, one quick one.
No, take the mic so we can hear you. We want to hear you, sorry. Please. Sorry. We just want to get you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bajo, ahead of elections is always intense. So instead of competing on castigating each other, it is always important to exchange your ideas ahead of assuming office. Are you open to having a tete-a-tete or face-to-face debate with your opponent, that is Kamaso? Are you open for a debate with Mr. Kamaso?
I'm not ruling out anything. I'm not ruling out. Everything depends on the context and the arrangements. As I said, we have a team. We have a team of experts in media and other things. It depends on the context. Everybody ever comes, we look at it and the feasibility. And I can tell you, I don't need a debate to sell my idea to the stakeholders. I don't need a debate for that. But if it becomes necessary and acceptable to my people, I'll do it. Why not? As I said, I spend the good part of my life in. There is no village in this country that does not stand on a platform as a politician. Why would I run away from a debate? I would not. It's debate the issue. Debate is not even the issue. The issue, everything has to come and be case by case and has to be looked at and the context is what is. I can go to debate with anybody in this world, but everything has to be based on the context. And I'm not here to announce that today because I will not do justice to the people who are assigned to do it around the country.
Thank you very much. Well, after this, there is a special one-on-one tete-a-tete with some of the TV stations, and I'm pretty sure the campaign team of Kaba will be knocking on the doors of all of the media houses, so you can reserve some of your questions. Mr. Iwil Abraham, campaign manager, will deliver the final remarks before, of course, we take leave of you. You can stand there. Abraham.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much to everybody, all the clubs, the regions, all the stakeholders in football. I'm really pleased and happy to see everybody has come. And I think this is the way it should be. I always want people to have a grip of where they put their money and what they are doing, meaning this is football. So thank you very much to everybody for coming to the Oasis apartments, where we are hosting Team Kaba's launching of the manifesto, and we hope to be communicating more and more and more. And it's our collective responsibility to make sure that our football goes to the professional league. And we've heard questions here, people are firing questions to the president regarding the professional league. And he has answered that there are different things that we have to make sure that are in place before we can go pro. It's the advantage of the whole country to have a professional league. Not only for Real de Banjul or for Steve Biko. No, it's for the whole country. It brings the value of our players higher. It brings more attention to Gambia. Clubs knowing that Gambia has a pro league. So myself, on behalf of all the clubs, will also appeal to the federation to make sure that we try and move this as fast as possible to go into the pro league. But let us stay together. And again, thank you very much for coming. I hope everybody had a drink and everybody had a little snack. So thank you once again for coming, and thank you to our aspiring president, Mr. Bayo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abraham. And once again to the different media outlets, if you want to have Team Kaba on your platform, you can contact the media team. The chairman is Mr. Suleiman, so you can contact him. And we thank you all for coming. It's been a pleasure. And as I said earlier, we'll be knocking on your doors. Let's please close it with prayers, individual prayers. Individual prayers. Thank you very much.